Most men have no idea why they're suffering. They think it's bad luck, or women have changed, or that being a nice guy just isn't enough anymore. But Freud saw something that nearly every man still refuses to admit. You're not chasing love, you're chasing your own destruction. He called it repetition, compulsion, a psychological loop where you're drawn over and over to the very thing that hurts you. You say she's your soulmate. You say this time is different. But your unconscious mind is playing a script you didn't write, one that was written in childhood, shaped by wounds, and driven by a need you can't even name. By the end of this video, you'll understand why you fall for the wrong women, why heartbreak feels like death, and why most men unknowingly surrender their power in every relationship. This isn't just a red pill, this is a mirror. So listen closely, because Freud didn't just expose the truth about women, he exposed the truth about you. Freud never romanticized love. He saw it for what it really was, a disguise, not a fairy tale, not destiny, but a survival mechanism, designed by nature and hijacked by your unconscious mind. You think you're falling in love with her, but Freud would say, you're bonding with a fantasy built on childhood, pain. When a man becomes obsessed with a woman who disrespects him, humiliates him, or ignores him, it's not because she's extraordinary. It's because she mirrors an emotional blueprint you've carried for decades. Freud called this the return of the repressed, meaning what you buried long ago, fear of abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, comes back disguised as desire. You don't love her because she's right for you. You love her because she feels familiar. And that familiarity is what chains you to dysfunction. Just look around. Men chasing emotionally unavailable women. Men proposing to women who emasculate them. Men staying in relationships where they're constantly gaslit, cheated on, or manipulated. Why? Because your unconscious mind wants the pain. It's trying to recreate the original trauma, but this time with a different ending. Spoiler, the ending never changes. Freud's warning was clear. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. And yet most men ignore this. They believe love is sacred, that loyalty will earn them peace. But the brutal truth is this: what you call love may actually be your deepest wound. Wearing perfume, and unless you face this truth head-on, you'll keep dating your dysfunction, sleeping with your sadness, and calling it fate. Let's stop pretending. Most men don't fall in love, they fall into patterns. And the most common pattern, chasing the very type of woman who will never love them back. You keep saying, she changed, she used me, she lost interest. After I gave her everything. But Freud would ask, why did you feel the need to give her everything in the first place? What made you believe your worth had to be proven, bought, or earned? The answer lies in your past. Freud believed that our first attachments, usually with our mother, create our core expectations in love. If that bond was insecure, neglectful, or emotionally distant, you will unconsciously seek out relationships that recreate that tension. It's not a coincidence, it's not bad luck. It's your unconscious screaming, this time I'll win her love and finally heal. But here's the tragedy. You're not trying to win her. You're trying to win someone else, the emotional ghost of your childhood. That's why the good guy finishes last. Because he's not showing strength, he's showing trauma. He thinks sacrifice is love. He believes being available, kind, and loyal will earn him respect. But Freud warned, neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. And in love, Most men are deeply neurotic. They can't tolerate uncertainty, so they overgive. They can't handle rejection, so they confuse approval for love, and that confusion becomes their cage. Every time you chase her harder when she pulls away, every time you apologize just to keep her calm, every time you say, "I'll change if you stay," you're not loving her, you're abandoning yourself. And here's the truth. Freud wanted every man to know. You can't negotiate love with someone who's there to test, not to heal, until you stop looking for redemption through women. Until you stop using relationships to fix what your childhood broke. You will keep calling rejection destiny, and your suffering love. You think relationships are built on fairness, on logic, on mutual effort, but Freud would laugh, because your logic has nothing to do with how attraction works. What if I told you most women don't even realize what they're doing when they test you? They're not plotting in a dark room. They're following deep, unconscious drives the same way you are. Freud believed the unconscious mind shapes 90% of human behavior. And in women, this shows up through emotional intelligence, subtle power plays, and instinctive screening. Let's break it down. Test number 1. The compliance test. She asks you to rearrange your plans. Skip the gym. Quit the hustle. She doesn't care about the request. She cares about the response. If you fold easily, she sees you're not leading your life. You're following hers. Test number 2. The frame test. She pushes your buttons, raises her voice, starts drama. Why? Not because she's toxic, but because she wants to feel your emotional leadership. Can you stay calm under fire? Or will you collapse like every weak man she's filtered out before? Test number 3. The investment test. You text first. You plan everything. You pay for everything. And she gives nothing. You think being consistent earns points. But Freud would say, you're proving you need her more than she needs you. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. Now understand this. These aren't games. These are biological strategies. Ways the female psyche filters for strength, stability, and dominance. Freud called it the tyranny of the weak. The idea that those who appear vulnerable often hold the greatest power, precisely because you underestimate them. Women don't fight with fists. They fight with silence, confusion, seduction, withdrawal. And most men fall for it, because they don't realize they're in a war until they've already surrendered. This isn't misogyny, it's reality. And the man who doesn't understand this dynamic, he's not a lover, he's a pawn. Freud warned us, most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Modern men don't want to accept that love is a battlefield, that she's watching your every move, unconsciously assessing your strength. But the man who sees clearly, he doesn't resent the game, he learns to play it better. You've seen the trap. You've seen how the mind deceives you, how unconscious wounds masquerade as love, how instinct, not intention, shapes attraction. Now here's the truth that changes everything. This isn't about women, it's about you. Freud didn't tell men to hate women. He told them to understand themselves. Because once you master your mind, everything else follows. The first step is this. Stop chasing validation. Freud said it best. The ego is not master in its own house. When you obsess over winning her back, making her stay, or proving you're good enough, your ego is not leading. Your inner child is. The boy who was never seen, never chosen, never safe, and you will bleed for anyone who offers you the illusion of that security. But men who wake up stop bleeding. They stop needing love to feel whole. They stop handing over power to women, not out of anger but clarity, because now they build from within. Here are Freud's 3 pillars of masculine transformation. 1. Psychospiritual awareness. Understand your wounds. Name your patterns. Why do you chase chaos? Why does silence feel like punishment? Until you shine a light on your unconscious, it will control your entire life, and you'll call it fate, too. Purpose before pleasure. A man without purpose is a slave to emotion. Freud believed we must sublimate our primitive desires, that is, channel them into creation. The gym, the business, the mission. Women aren't meant to be your purpose. They're meant to witness it. 3. Power through boundaries. You don't need to control women. You need to control yourself. The moment you make standards non-negotiable, respect follows. Because strength isn't about aggression, it's about sovereignty. And a sovereign man, he's never manipulated because he's never dependent. Here's the ultimate red pill Freud left us. We forfeit our strength, not because women demand it, but because we believe we must. So what now? You can keep chasing, keep confusing trauma for love, keep sacrificing your future to fix what your past broke, or you can evolve, not by fighting women, not by resenting them, but by becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to be chosen because he's already chosen himself. This is where your real life begins.